Something you look forward to?
Yep, I do. I like it. Every Thursday I go, and it used to be required as part of my parole, and then it was required as part of my probation, and then I still kept going after I finished. So.
Oh, and you'd say that helps you?
Yeah, I really like to go there. Yeah.
Yeah, and the other people, they basically kind of the same story as yours?
No, they're all mostly alcohol. A couple people there are for marijuana possession. You know, it's just like Iosco County just wants money.
Yeah. Now, so you're on probation.
I'm not on probation anymore.
Oh, you're not?
Nope, they discharged me off probation. That was the best thing that could have happened to me, this
Cool.
tether. So once I'm off this tether, I'm free and clear, and I have my medical marijuana card, so what can they do to me then?
Yeah, is this just so you just have misdemeanors?
Yeah, well, I actually, just for probation, but I was on felony probation.
Oh, you were?
Yeah.
And what was that for?
I broke into my stepdad's house.
Yep.
Because he was, he wanted me to do this, like pro dome, which is basically like a dominatrix without the sex.
Yeah.
And he didn't want me to be myself. Nobody could know that I was his stepdaughter, so I had to pretend I was Paige. And I was at my ex-boyfriend's house, and he texted me like, I'm gonna go out of town for the week, so if you want your stuff, you need to come here tonight alone. And my ex-boyfriend was like, that sounds weird, don't go there. So I didn't go. The next day I went and checked the locks, and my key went in the lock, but it wouldn't turn because he had changed the locks. And so this guy gave my ex-boyfriend's cousin some money to help me get my stuff out of the house. And when he broke the door open, I think he was just in the heat of the moment and went in there and just like did a B&E instead of helping me get my stuff. So when my stepdad found out I had anything to do with it, he pressed charges on me.
Gotcha. I mean, you could have denied it, couldn't you?
I did deny it, but then they're very convincing, you know, and they said, oh, we've seen you here. We have people that saw you here. And then I started crying, and I said, it was me, and I came just to get my stuff. And my stepdad heard that, and he told my mom he was going for blood.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
You'll be able to get that off your record someday.
I believe so.
Yeah, you know. So, I guess, how was the transition from, like, is that, when you're down there working dates, is it just something that, I mean, I know it's sex, but you kind of put it, it's not really sex to you.
No, it's just a job.
So, would you say there was any consequential damage psychologically of having all that sex that way and then trying to plug yourself into a normal relationship?
Yeah, definitely. You know, I feel like being down there in Detroit caused me some PTSD on top of my already PTSD.
Yeah.
And I kind of just re-victimized myself. And so I was kind of weird getting into a relationship, and I thought, oh, we were going to have sex right away, and it wasn't like that. So he wanted to take his time, and that was probably what I needed then, too. So.
Gotcha. Now, I know it's just something I thought of as I was asking you that. And does this ever come up in an argument, your past?
No, actually, because he used to. So, I mean, his past, you know, he gets upset when I talk about still wanting to get high. And he doesn't understand, but he should understand. But he said he has no urges, never had an urge after he stopped using, which is hard for me to believe because I wanted to stop wanting to use, but I still wanted to.
Yeah.
So.
What mechanism do you have in place when you get one of these urges?
I just try and talk about it. I talked to my mom about it because she was down there with me, you know, and she understands more, you know, more than anybody else can, I think. So.
What could you tell young women that were in the same position you were at that age how could you talk them out of it? I mean, what are the glaring things you recall to make trying heroin just a bad idea?
Well, there's the fact that, you know, you leave marks all over your body. You get dope sick, then you'll do anything for it. You'll rob people, you'll steal from your own family and friends and ruin all your relationships. You won't be able to hold on to anything good if you still use. If you want to try using heroin, don't do it. It's no good. It's no fun. Even though you think it sounds good or there's something appealing about it, there's an allure to it, there's nothing good about it, really. So.
There's nothing good about it.
No, I mean, it feels good, but that's the only thing. It feels good until the next time.
Yeah. How would you relate being high on heroin to alcohol or marijuana?
Being high on marijuana and alcohol is nothing like getting high on heroin. Getting high on heroin is like warm all over your body. It's almost like an orgasm, honestly.
Really?
Mm-hmm. And it is, and it's like the best feeling ever, and you want it to last forever, but it doesn't.
How long did it last generally for you?
Well, the high would last maybe like an hour at the tops, but then I wouldn't be sick for another like maybe 2 or 3 hours. And when I was snorting it, it would be like every half hour you'd start feeling sick. So when you start shooting it up, it's like, oh, well, I can wait for like 6 hours before I start feeling sick again. But when you're using, you're not even caring about being sick. You just want to get high. So you just keep using and keep using.
What did the crack feel like, and what did that do for you?
The crack, well, I mean, it's like I don't even know. It's like a rush, like a head rush in your head. And it's like euphoria. And then you're kind of spazzed out after that. So it's like just one more hit, but then it just doesn't keep being the same hit after you take one hit.
And meth?
I only tried meth one time, and it was good the situation that I had it in because I was too geeked up already. So when I smoked the meth, it actually brought me down and made me fall asleep.
Okay. And on the medical marijuana card, do you look forward to smoking marijuana?
I do. I can't wait till I'm off this tether. I'm going to go to every one of these dispensaries around here with that medical marijuana card and get those welcome packs.
Really?
Yeah. I told my grandma, she thinks it's funny. She's going to get her medical marijuana card too.
And if you would consider like heroin the ultimate high 10, where would you put good marijuana?
Well, I'd say maybe like a 7. Because it lasts a lot longer and it's more relaxing. Even if you get like a sativa, which is an upper kind of buzz, it still has more calming effect than anything. So.
It is. See, would you agree that it's better that someone's driving and smoking marijuana than drinking?
Oh, yeah, definitely. People are way more cautious when they're smoking marijuana. They don't want the police. They drive probably below the speed limit,
Yeah.
When you're drinking, you make stupid choices and you just don't really pay attention to what's around you.
Yeah. With regard to you watching videos that I've done with other women, I have my share of enemies.
Yeah.
What could I do differently down there?
I mean, I really feel like you're doing a good thing for them, Tom. And if people are getting upset about it, then that's, their own personal problem because, what you're doing is really trying to help these girls and trying to get the word out and bringing them things that they wouldn't have normally. And, it's really helpful. I mean, somebody told me that you're the reason why these girls are ending up dead, but I didn't believe that for a second, I mean, the fact that they're down there for so many years and unscathed is just surprising to me because I know I wasn't unscathed down there.
Yeah, it's just like Rebecca as an example. How is she still alive?
I
would think just by virtue of being high and crossing Michigan Avenue, you would get run over.
Yeah. Well, you just gotta wait for the crosswalk. If you go over by Tollway, there's there's this light right there at the corner, so you can go across the street that way, or just wait till there's no traffic and you run across the street. But sometimes, Tom, I was getting so high that I wouldn't even know where I was walking to, and my ex would have to walk me to the next spot. And I remember one time waking up like, where'd he go? And they're like, oh, he left like an hour ago. And I would just be like, really? He left me here at the spot at the dope house with nobody that I know? But that would happen all the time. And I was lucky that I survived. I actually had a stroke at 24. And I was in a coma. And I was actually behind McDonald's right there on Michigan Avenue. There used to be a house there. I'm not sure if it's still there now. And there's a brick wall right there. And I was on the other side of the brick wall, and I remember crouching down in the woods because my mom and me had gotten into a fight, so I ran away from her. And that's the last thing I remember. And then I woke up in the hospital like a week later. And they said that I had been in a coma, and I have like a big scar on the top of my head and a scar on my back. Someone pulled me out of that house and called 911, which is just amazing to me because, first of all, the police don't usually come. And second of all, the fact that somebody even pulled me out of there. And I told my mom it was God, Mama. That's what I said. I said it was God. He pulled me out of the house. So I believe that. I believe that in that situation, I was protected, even though I was putting myself in harm's way.
Interesting. What do they attribute the stroke to?
Probably crack and heroin mix. Probably just a bad combination, I guess.
Gotcha.
My mom and me had been using crack, and then I went and shot up like 3 packs of dope, and it was just a combination of both of them, I think.
Do you have brothers or sisters?
I have a little brother who lives up here, and I have two brothers that are from my dad and another woman.
Yeah.
And one lives downstate in like Farmington Hills, and another one lives in California, and he's doing really good.
Oh, so is everybody doing pretty well?
Everybody's doing good, yeah.
And mom is doing what now exactly?
She cleans houses,
Mm-hmm.
and she just takes care of my brother. He's 15 now, so.
Oh wow.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So life's good for her as well.
Yeah, life is really good for her.
And did she just do the rehab thing kind of like you did as well?
She did rehab. She did for a shorter stay than I did.
Yeah.
And then, after 2017, she just basically decided that there was no good coming out of it because it was just like, just that it's the same thing I said already, just one more time. Well, that one more time turns into like 10 more times, and we ended up going on like a week-long binge. And at the end of it, we were both miserable, so.
Where was your rehab at?
I went to Munson and Traverse City, and I went to Caros and Saginaw twice.
Okay. And one any better than the other?
Well, Caros is really good because they do have, they really have a lot of counselors that care about you. But Munson's the same way. The therapists are really helpful, and they want to help you, become a better person. But Munson's only like a 18-day stay. So I did 60 days in Caros and 30 days there down in Saginaw. And they're all wonderful people there.
A good experience.
Yeah, a really good experience.
Do you think that same quality of care is possible down around Michigan Avenue for the access the women have, or you don't know?
Well, I know that there are some places that are coming up trying to help women. I know there's a Salvation Army on 4th Street, and they then take you to where is that? I don't know, some place that's closer to Canton.
Okay.
And I've seen a lot of people have success from those places, but it's just the problem is that if you have a rehab down there and you're in the heart of all the drugs, somebody gets out of rehab and they still want to get high, then it's right there and they're right able to get it right away. So
yeah, did you say you knew Ebony?
Yep. Yep.
Supposedly she was in rehab yesterday.
Was she? I hope she is. She's a good girl. She's really a sweet person.
She is. Great personality.
Yeah, she is.
Really easygoing. And it's interesting how Jeannie and those women just managed to hang in there.
Yeah.
Yep,
it is. I feel like even if they don't think it, they're being watched over by God. I believe that, I don't know how religious they are, but I feel like the only reason any of us survived down there is because God saved us, for some other purpose.
You think so?
I don't believe that God wants us to be using drugs and getting high. I think that stuff comes from the devil. My ex was talking like he wanted to get out so bad, and he never got a chance. He passed away in a shelter down there. So.
Okay. Huh? Did when you get down below, do you skip that area?
Sometimes, yep. The last time I went down, we drove right through Southwest, and we were actually looking for my ex-boyfriend, and I saw a guy that I knew that was walking the streets, and I thought I should be down here, and I felt like jumping out of the car, and I didn't though. And I went, back to where I was going to was my grandfather's house down there.
Interesting. Now, how often do you get down below?
Not very often, which is probably a good thing, Yeah. I feel like if anybody wants to come see my baby, they can come see me because, I just know myself. If I get down there and it's temptation, then, it's just better to stay away from that temptation.
Yeah. Do you have any other addictive behaviors?
I smoke cigarettes.
Oh, okay.
And I have OCD, and, that only marginally affects me. My PTSD comes out when I get into, like, fights with my mom or... I remember when I got into a fight with my current boyfriend now, I just, I just lost it, and I started, like, punching myself and just, like, hurting myself to try and make myself feel better. And so I don't know if that's an addictive behavior. I believe self-harm is an addictive behavior, though. So,
really?
And I think that's kind of the same thing with using drugs, is harming yourself, but it still feels better. Makes things feel better.
So your plans for the future are just...
My plans for the future is just, raise my baby, try and be the best mother to her that I can be, I want to make sure that she knows that she can always talk to me, so I'll always be open with her if she asks me about my past. I work at Blue Horizon right across the street, and she's an amazing person over there. And, I do want to get out of Oscoda at some point, but right now this is where my family is. My grandma and grandpa are here, and I can't be away from them. So
Good, great. Well, you have any questions for me?
no, I feel like I wonder what got you started doing this.
Well, I was down there. I was always kind of into photography, and I'm from Flat Rock, and I was always keeping up on Detroit even when I didn't live in Michigan. And
Yeah.
I would, always get the papers and get a coffee like at the gas station at Clark and Fort.
Yeah.
And I would see those women sometimes just like feed the birds and like cats, and I'm a big animal lover.
Yeah.
And one day I was just standing in line. I kind of got to know him from going in there so much, and I said, "Hey, do you think maybe I could interview you sometime?" Just curious, and that it all kind of took off from there.
Well, that's
And
cool.
then there were early interviews with Angel, who died of an
Right.
OD, and Penny, who was murdered, and
Yeah.
it was just like I look back on that now, compared to like now, it's just I don't want to say I got lucky because those were unfortunate endings, but I thought Angel was a unique personality.
Yeah.
And, Penny was the poster child for everybody wanting to help blue-eyed blonde on
Right.
heroin. And it just worked with regard to the interest it drew. Although those videos sat around forever, nobody watched them.
Yeah.
But once people got a hold of those and one thing went to another, and I thought, well, I can't believe they have the same interest I do. Because,
Right.
my stuff was just... Most of my friends, only a couple of my friends know I even have a YouTube channel.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I just enjoy doing it.
Yeah.
People can't figure out what I enjoy about it. I really couldn't describe it to you. I never really went down there with any intention of like doing these great things. It was the
Right.
viewers that thought something came out of it. It wasn't anything that I ever did. I
Right.
still don't take any credit for doing anything really that great. So
Yeah.
maybe turn on a
It definitely is very helpful, though.
Turn
I
on a
believe.
camera.
I wish that you had been down there when I was down there.
Yeah, I wish
because
I would have been
thought,
too.
Damn, when I watched these, I'm like, wow, I really wish that he could have been there trying to help me and get me support when I didn't feel like I had any support. So
Yeah. Do you think it's a good idea, like the food and the clothes and